you guys stand with Cal now? Like, is there a level of vitriol? Is there a level of hatred? Because a lot of times you see coaches leave and the fan base is like, well, you're leaving us, you're abandoning us. But I feel like maybe a majority of Kentucky fans by the end were like, yeah, you know, I'm ready for him to be gone. I'm ready for this era to be over. I'm ready for a fresh start. And then he goes and he leaves for a team in the same conference and brings a whole bunch of your guys with them. So like, where do you guys stand in terms of, do you hate him? Is it almost like you don't really, like, he doesn't really matter? Where do you stand?
I don't think people hate him, okay? I mean, like, he did great stuff here. I mean, the run from 2010 to 2019 was an awesome run and was a lot of fun. And Kentucky basketball was cool, which it really was never cool in my life. We loved it, but like the country didn't think we were cool. Starting with John Wall, they did. So there's not hatred, but people were done with him. You know, here's the thing about Cal. It's an awesome ride, but when he leaves, it's blown up. It's always like that, right? I mean, it was like that at UMass. It was like that at Memphis. It was like that here. It's going to be like that at Arkansas. I think by the end, though, people were worn out with it. And they were worn out with the losses, but they were also just, there was a disconnect between him and the fans and the administration and the boosters. And it was just needed to be over. It was a divorce where you loved each other for most of the marriage. The end stunk. And now you separate. I think what will happen, though, is when he finishes at Arkansas, he'll be able to come back here. There's not vitriol, but there was booing. A lot of people don't want him to have a lot of success at Arkansas, but I don't think people hate him. People hated Rick for a while, like hated him. And guess what? Now they love him. So our fan base, we're very emotional. We move up, back and forth, and right now Cal's not in the best graces, but one day he'll be back. They'll retire that jersey and he'll get an ovation one day.
Yeah, it'll take time. The wounds will heal, and then everyone's gonna remember how great it was when he started there. No one will remember the end. They'll remember the great times, right? That's like how it is in any relationship.
Yeah,
Hey, Matt.
especially here. But yet, Tyler, I got to hear from you. I was looking for Bomani Jones and I had one of the biggest arguments of all time when Anthony Davis had his freshman year. I said Anthony Davis had the best freshman year of anyone ever. And Bomani was like, Tyler Hansborough had the best freshman year. And he and I went at it once on ESPN. So I'm glad to be on here with you.
Well, I think Cooper Flagg's putting that argument to rest for both of us. But my question was, and one of my favorite stories this year has been Rick Pitino at St. John's. And I was going to ask you, you just kind of talked about it real quick. How do you guys view Rick Pitino, and has the Kentucky fan base enjoyed what he's done this year?
I think most Kentucky fans, not all, but 90% of them were pulling for St. John's and Rick all year. The transformation of how Kentucky fans feel about Rick Pitino is one of the most amazing things I've ever seen. I mean, this was a dude who Kentucky fans rooted for his downfall. I mean, all of the stuff that happened. I mean, Rick took more jokes from Kentucky fans and from me and my website and show in particular at Louisville. You know, he went and coached our arch rival, and he had sort of the audacity to think Kentucky fans were going to cheer for Louisville. That was a little bit arrogant of him. But when Mark Pope got here, it's just all flipped. And everybody loves Rick now. That ovation he got at Rupp was real. People seem to I mean, I had him on, and I'm one of the people who's probably the harshest to Rick of anyone. And I had him on my show, and he completely charmed me and was nice, and I was rooting hard for St. John's against Arkansas. It's amazing. And my theory about Cal is if that can happen with Rick, who when it was negative, it was even. He flipped us off the last time he was in Rupp Arena. Middle fingers up as he walked out. And 10 years later, he gets a standing ovation. Cal will get it too one day.
Well, Tyler, are you going to get that one day? After you're done pissing off all these Kentucky fans, we got to bring you back. Next time we go to Rupp, Tyler, we're bringing you with us. We're just going to parade you out there, let everybody serenade you.
Me and Jeff will never get a standing ovation to Rupp.
No, Jeff. Listen, Jeff. So Jeff was here for a game. There was a time that people cursed Jeff Goodman's. I mean, the only person less popular than Patino and Pat Forty was Jeff Goodman. And yet somehow now even Jeff Goodman is like time heals all wounds. It is
Well, especially
unbelievable. I
when you go
never would
after.
have thought there was a
Hey,
day that Jeff Goodman could walk in Rupp and be given a seat on press row and have fans want to say hello to him, and it's happened. So who knows?
you know, when you say bad things about Seth Greenberg, it helps get Big Blue Nation on your side right
Yeah,
now.
Seth is
That
the
doesn't
dude
hurt
now.
as well.
Like Jeff has been taken over by Seth Greenberg. I mean, Seth Greenberg so Seth goes on ESPN and he calls me that one guy from KSR. Even after 3 days after he had texted me on my personal phone and said like terrible things to me. So I'm going to start calling him that one guy with one NCAA tournament win from Virginia Tech. And that one guy with one NCAA tournament win from Virginia Tech is now the enemy of the UK fan state.
Yes, he has one more. He has one more tournament win than you do in his last 17 years, Matt. Just so you know,
And
one more win.
and 500
than you do.
times the arrogance.
Mark Pope. Mark Pope obviously has done an incredible job this year. What does he have to do going forward to sustain this? Because you know how volatile this is right now. Obviously, he's going to have money. We know that. He's going to have NIL. But, you know, you look at Kansas State, Indiana, it's not a guarantee just because you have money, you're going to put together a really good team. What does he have to do going forward to keep this thing going?
I think Kentucky fans would like to see him get one elite recruit that's not from Kentucky. We probably had two of the best in-state recruits we've ever had in the last 15 years in Kentucky, Jasper Johnson and Malachi Moreno. They're coming in next year. He got them both, so that was really good. I think they'd like to see him get one top 10 guy because we got used to that with Cal. But honestly, I think he's set up perfectly. The portal, I think, really works for him. He can pick guys for his system. You know, when I looked at who he brought in last year, I remember thinking, well, I never saw Amari Williams play. You know, I'd seen Kobe Brea, but I was like, well, he was the sixth man at Dayton. Otega Owe never really stood out to me, and he made that team into a great team. I think, you know, if he continues to attack the portal, wins, he's also doing things that don't seem big but are big. He renewed the Kentucky-Indiana series, which Calipari let end. He's going to take the team to Maui or one of those tournaments. Cal refused to play in those tournaments like Danny Hurley is now doing. So fans like that stuff. And he's winning off the court. As long as he keeps winning on the court, I think it's going to be a great marriage. Now, of course, there'll come a point where he's got to go to a Final Four, win a title, but I don't think we're there anytime soon. I think right now, if he continues to attack the portal, has a good year again next year, people are going to be thrilled.